Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. It's about 2.5 days as I'm recording this until the Endless Heist event starts, and so I wanted to put together some preliminary thoughts on rogue gearing for the event. Heist rogues can get quite a bit of a boost from having the right gear on them, and so I wanted to cover some of the mods that I think are way better than all of the rest of them. And then I'll put out a separate video as to how you might roll some of that gear. So the first thing I want to say is that it is very easy to invest too much time and effort into chasing the perfect gear for every single rogue. My thoughts here are that you should decide for each rogue whether you're likely to run hundreds of heists with them, whether you're likely to run just a couple of dozen, or whether you're likely to run almost none. And that's going to govern the amount of effort you want to put into gearing up that rogue in each of its different 4 item slots. Additionally, whilst I'm putting this out for the Endless Heist event, it is something you could conceivably use in a trade league, but in a trade league there are a couple of little differences, so do give some thought to whether some of the mods that I'm glossing over, like percentage chance to duplicate sextants, might actually be really good in a trade league. So, let's talk about firstly the low-end cheat sheet here. And this is the minimum recommended mods for rogues that you expect to run dozens, but not hundreds, of higher level heists with. So firstly, for your brooch slot, tier 3 or better job speed as a prefix. Everything else is a bonus, but job speed is the best mod you can get there. You will gain a lot out of having a chance to duplicate currency, but you probably want tier 3 or better job speed on every single character's brooch here. For your cloak, here I think you want to get tier 3 job speed as a prefix, or better. Plus you want to get something that reduces alert as a suffix. So this will be reduced alert percentage, or it's alert avoidance, so your percentage chance to avoid the alert meter increasing when you open a chest. Both of those suffixes are good. There's not much between them, so if you can get yourself a tier 3 or better job speed and then just anything, even tier 4 is fine in one of these, that's going to be really solid. Of course, you could potentially just use a tier 2 or tier 1 job speed if it doesn't have either of these suffixes as well. That'd be fine too, but this is basically what I think most people will end up using. Now for the weapon slot, I am specifically calling out arrowheads here. The reason for that is that they have one more desirable mod available on them than the others. The Haste Aura is actually surprisingly good to get from a rogue. Now, this advice would be different if you're a build that is actually using haste yourself, but I don't think there'll be very many of those floating around in the Endless Heist event. So the reason I say this is that haste is a skill gem that does not scale very much with gem level, and so level 5 is actually really good. Getting your rogue casting a Haste Aura, even if that Haste Aura is only level 5, has a big boost to your character's movement speed, attack speed, and cast speed. It's not absolutely massive or anything, but it's a really meaningful buff, and I highly recommend trying to get it. So you want to get that if you can. Failing that though, tier 3 or better job speed is fine. For your job tool, ideally you're going to get +1 level to all rogue skills. Failing that, job speed is okay. So what does +1 level to all rogue skills mean? And just be aware that this is distinct from +1, 2, 3, or 4 to character level. What +1 level does is it causes some of the rogue's other side effects, such as Huck's 10, 15, or 20% increased character experience. It actually increases these beyond normal limits. So if you equip this to Huck, instead of 20% increased player experience gain, it becomes 25% increased player experience gain, and that's really, 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 really good. And a bunch of the other NPCs, so not just Huck, it's really good on Vindiri, it's really good on Gianna, especially in a trade league. It's actually amazing on Gianna in a trade league, and it's good on cast. Yeah, it's just generally really, really, really strong. That's a very rare roll though, so if you can't get that, job speed's fine, you can settle for job speed. Next, I want to talk about the rogues you consider dump stats. So this is very low-end rogue gear. These are the recommended mods for rogues that you will use 20 times or less all event. Or if you're playing in a trade league, this is the rogues you're just going to use when you're forced to use them. So, for your brooch, don't waste resources or time crafting a masterpiece. Scour elk a couple of times until it's got 2 quarter-way useful mods, and don't roll over job speed. For the cloak, see the brooch. For the job tool, see the brooch. For the arrowhead, don't roll over job speed. So basically see the brooch, but also don't roll over the Haste Aura. Basically, you just want a couple of synergistic mods, a couple of okay tier mods, and then you're fine. You don't want to put any real investment in, but you do want something in every slot. Next up, there's the high-end section. Now, these are the minimum recommended mods for rogues you're going to run hundreds of a level 81 plus heists with. Now, I want to start with a caveat that this is going to be where people who are not watching this for the Endless Heist event should probably stop watching the video at this point. If you're playing in a trade league, then there's a bunch of additional suffixes on the brooch that you do want. However, for the brooch, it is clear that in the context of the Endless Heist event, Tier 2 plus currency duplication is the best suffix. There's a number of suffixes that you can roll low that do things like duplicating Legion Splinters, duplicating Sextants. All these sorts of things are really, really good, but you can't use them in the Endless Heist event. So that is something that is objectively wrong if you're watching this after Endless Heist. But for Endless Heist, I think you want Tier 2 job speed or better as your prefix, as one prefix, Tier 2 currency duplication as a suffix, and then everything else you can get on top of this is a bonus, as is upgrading one of those Tier 2 rolls to Tier 1. These brooches are actually somewhat achievable too. I think it's like a 1 in 250 chance from memory to Chaos Orb this, and there's no really good way to target it other than just Chaos Orbs, but they are manageable with Chaos Orbs. For your Cloak, I think you want Tier 2 or better job speed, plus both of Reduced Alert and Alert Avoidance. Or you could just get a high tier of one of these, that'll be fine, especially if you've got Tier 1 job speed. I'd be happy with Tier 1 job speed, Tier 1 Reduced Alert, and no Alert Avoidance. I'd be really content with that as well. That would be a good high-end rogue Cloak. For your Arrowhead, you need to have the Haste Aura and job speed. Ideally Tier 1, but Tier 2 is fine as well. The Haste Aura actually doesn't scale very much at all from level 5 to 10, 10 to 15. So if you've got a choice between level 5 Haste Aura and Tier 1 job speed, versus on the other hand getting a different Arrowhead that has Tier 15 Haste Aura and has Tier 2 job speed, I'm going to suggest that you take the level 5 Haste with the Tier 1 job speed. For your job tool, +1 level with job speed is what you want to get here. That's going to be pretty hard to roll low, so you might just settle for +1 level and a couple of other good mods on it. Okay, so that's really all there is on this. If you've got comments or questions, definitely fire away below. There will definitely be other things that people suggest down in the comments of this video where people will have other ideas as to what's good, and you should definitely take their ideas seriously because undoubtedly there's things I'm missing here. And additionally, you should focus on using certain rogues more than others. You will definitely be using Huck a lot in this event. Huck grants increased character experience, and that is really strong. And so I think for most players, probably the highest priority is going to be getting a really good job tool on Huck that has +1 to the level and ideally with job speed as well. If you can get these, then Huck will be in a fantastic place. Huck can only use level 3 and lower job tools, which is of course somewhat of a restriction, but I'm sure you'll be able to find one at some point that will be able to do that. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. May your Varlorbs have interesting results, and don't throw Varlorbs at Heist gear. It doesn't do anything useful.